we're getting the sort of framing of what a constitutional crisis would be is when he defies not the laws that are on the books, but a judge's ruling.
Both.
Like, right,
Yeah.
right. And then around something constitutional, and he defies it and just says, yeah, we're doing it anyway. You can rule that we can't do this, but we're doing it anyway. And then they do it, right? What then?
Well, that's right. There are multiple components of a constitutional crisis. One is having a president who doesn't believe any of these rules that have bound all of his predecessors, and budgets that have been passed by Congress and signed by the president don't apply to him, and he can do whatever he wants. Then you have going to court, and him, basically using these right-wing lawyers to make these ridiculous arguments and try to get around the ruling. And then you have a scenario where the court orders him to do something and they refuse. And in fact, as many people saw this weekend or earlier this week, J.D. Vance was saying just that. We pointed that out over almost a year ago, that J.D. Vance had said that, let the court try to enforce its orders. That's how defiant he was even before he was named to be vice president.
How are they going to enforce their orders?
That is exactly the question, LB, right? Because the court, first of all, relies on the general
compliance
toward obedience, to not be in defiance of a court order for compliance. And presidents typically comply. That's been the norm in our history. And if a president does not comply, then the court can issue sanctions that the person is acting in contempt of court. But the court has to rely on executive branch officers in the U.S. Marshal Service, for example, to enforce a contempt order. Sometimes if you're an ordinary lawyer and you're in court and you said to a judge, I'm not going to follow your order, the judge would bang the gavel, hold you in contempt, and have the court security officer escort you to jail, like then, on the spot. At this moment, there are court security officers who work for the courts, but typically court orders are enforced with the assistance of the executive branch, and we have a defiant executive branch. And then the next part is the super scary part, which is once they ignore a court order on, let's just say X, not because it's a really shitty platform, but let's say they ignore an order on, X, then what order won't they defy if they decide just to pick people up, throw people in jail? Other orders, if they decide to allow their violent followers who were released from jail before they finished their
domestic terrorists,
if they decide not to prosecute them, or they try to prevent the prosecution of them, as or other people who are corrupt, like the mayor of New York, what happens then? We are in no man's land. We're in an unprecedented period in U.S. history where
we have a king. Then we have an oligarchy. So I just, spoiler alert, he's going to defy it. Then he's not going to do what any court tells him to do.
Well, let's be fair though. I mean, when Kash Patel gets confirmed as the head of the FBI, I think we're going to be totally fine, because he's. Can't even go through with the joke.
This is it's a disaster. And you're right. What is America then? Is it an oligarchy? Is it a monarchy? How do we describe this failed state where there are no checks on executive power? And no matter what little mitigation John Roberts may decide, perhaps, possibly, although I doubt it, to do, he cannot compel the man that he helped enthrone with king-like powers to comply with the law. A man who, by his very nature, does not comply with law.
No, he was born to defy it, and he was installed to destroy us.